I love the weather here.
Yeah, it's not too bad. There we go. Right, we're running.
All right.
All right. So I'm here with Ian Gregory Tan from Witching Hour Studios to talk about his new game. First of all, could you just tell us a little bit about the game, what it's called, and what it's all about?
Sure. So we're making a game called Masquerada. It is a game along the same veins as Baldur's Gate and Dragon Age, where you control a party, in our case a party of 3, as you take them through an adventure. And it's a story that revolves around a city where masks are the only way you can use magic. And this creates a bit of a problem because there aren't many masks, so it creates a social economic problem where only the very rich have masks. And that's one of the themes we are exploring, the rich and the poor.
Alright, so when I was saying that you're aiming this to clock in around about the 15-20 hours sort of range, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So it's about 15 to 20 hours. It's going to be a solid experience and it's fully voiced all the way through.
Alright, okay. So you're saying it's sort of an action RPG. Is it going to be heavily story based? Is it single player, multiplayer? What are we talking about?
Right, so it's single player. It's going to be very story based. So it's a bit linear. But the reason why we decided to do that is that we wanted to create a very holistic experience versus having many choices that are only surface deep, which we didn't feel was a good investment for a small company like us.
Okay, so obviously the main theme of the game seems to be looking around the use of masks for magic and things like that. So are your player characters all magic users, or have you got more of a traditional sort of set of skills?
So we have classes, and each of the classes are actually in tune with the various styles of art. So for example, the summoners are dirges, which are musicians, the sicarios, who are assassins, which are based on dance. So you actually see them make dance movements to cast their magic. And the tanks are based on sports, so it's the Greek idea of sports, so you have like wrestlers and things like that.
Oh right, okay, so you've taken your sort of design inspiration from a number of different places. What would be your main influence from with regard to a visual style?
We were inspired by comic books, and this whole idea that we wanted to create something rather timeless. We wanted something stylized so that you could play it 10 years from now and it still feels right, still feels good. It's very much like a good old Disney movie.
Alright, so could you give us a basic sort of a quick summary of what the setting of the game is, where you're based, what the game's going to evolve around?
So you follow a character called Cicero Gavar, and he's an inspectore, very much the Sherlock Holmes of the world. He returns from being exiled, and he is here to solve a mystery. And this mystery opens up into something greater and something bigger. And it's set in a city where morality is grey. It is Venetian inspired, so you have buildings and canals and the opulent clothings and gaudy colors and things like that.
Alright, okay, and so these sort of games quite often come down to the combat is always a big part of these games. What sort of combat mechanics are you working with in this game?
Right, so we are doing real time with pause, but at the same time we are inculcating a lot more of what's common nowadays. So if you decide to play one character through, it plays very much like a MOBA. So you actually have fewer skills, but knowing when to use them and how to use them would play a very much bigger role in winning the game. So you can pause any time, give instructions to your whole party, but controlling of each singular character feels very much like a character from a MOBA.
Alright, so it's very similar to the old sort of Baldur's Gate, and more recently Pillars of Eternity and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
In fact, it seems like it shares a few things in common with Pillars of Eternity, including the sort of quite lush, Were there any other modern games that you took inspiration from?
Definitely. I mean, with regards to the direction and the general art style, we're big fans of Supergiant. So things like Transistor and Bastion played a big role while we were deciding exactly what we wanted to do and how we were going to do it. Because everything you see in the game, while the characters are 3D, all the backgrounds are actually 2D painted. So it's this huge, lush environments that you can walk around in.
And the game, how long has it been in development for?
We are looking at it's been in development for nearly a year right now. We're looking at another half a year before we're going to launch.
Alright, so I take it you don't have a set release date at the moment?
Tentatively April.
Right.
Steam at least. We haven't quite decided what we're going to do with the console launches yet, but that's something that will come along the way as well.
So you are seriously thinking about console launches then?
Yes, Microsoft and Sony have both been very nice, and we're having very nice chats with them about how we want to organize this, because it's the whole process of putting something on a console is very different from PC.
Or just from a controller perspective, if nothing else, you've got to remap everything, haven't you?
Yeah, but we do feel like there's a lot of games out there that have done it very close to what we intend, so it's not as though we're working with a blank slate. Dragon Age does it very well. when we showcased the game at PAX, I mean, people picked it up and they kind of got what we were going for. So we're quite happy with that.
What do you think the biggest challenge has been so far in developing the game?
I would definitely say the content is about just putting as much as what we'd like into it. We had to cut quite a bit to make sure that we could fit it into a manageable size for a small team, because we're a small team off in Singapore, and we need to make sure that it can be completed. Aside from that, I would say that it was quite an uphill battle for us to learn how to do 3D work, because all our previous games were all in 2D. So that was quite a challenge, but I think people will be quite pleased with what we have. The animations are beautifully done.
Alright, so if I was giving you the opportunity to say to the people listening at home, why should they get your game? What's so good about it, and all of that sort of thing? What would you say to them to say, come and buy my game?
Well, we have two pillars of thoughts when we come to game design, and I think this game, encompasses that very well. We tell a great story with great characters in a world that is believable and yet so fantastic that you would be sucked into it, fully voiced, and that plays a big part in bringing the characters to life. Also, combat is something that we focus a lot on. It is tactical, it is strategic, it allows you to play it in the style that you prefer. The beauty of real-time with pause is that you can actually pace yourself. At any point where you feel overwhelmed, you can pause and decide what you want to do. If not, you can, as my writer likes to say, Diablo your way through the game if you'd prefer as well.
All right, well, thank you very much for taking time to talk to us. I hope you enjoy the rest of the...
Thank you so much.